Okay, thanks so much, Nicola. Well, despite warnings from the Bank of Canada and the Finance Minister, the average indebtedness of Canadians climbed to record levels last year. Cindy Leach and Ryan Mather of Ontario Debt Advisors are here with some tips to get things under control, because what is it now? For every dollar we bring in, we're spending $1.64.
Correct.
And we really need to rein that back in. So, of course, spending, cutting down on your spending, there's some good tips for that. But if you're in a situation where you're just backpedaling here, you need help now.
Correct. Yes. I think given the new year, New Year's resolutions, if people need to make a commitment to getting out of debt, if that's their priority, they can do it. If their debt is out of control, and by out of control debt, we mean they are only making minimum payments. They can't see that they're going to have that debt paid off in 5 years or less. Then Ontario Debt Advisors can help them. We can provide solutions for them through government programs. And one of the things Ryan's going to talk about is what can they do to cut back on their spending. Mm-hmm.
There's just simple things that we think about every day, right?
They're everyday
Coffee
things.
is a big one.
That's one of them. And one of the steps that we like to go through when we're dealing with our clients is understanding their budget. So not talking about their debt, just understanding their day-to-day living expenses. And when you actually sit down and go through that budget with people, toiletries, groceries, gas in the car, insurance, by the time they get to the end of it, they realize there's not very much left. And it's that struggle to try to figure out robbing Peter or paying Paul.
Mm-hmm. Because most of us don't really realize how much we spend on an average day, right?
Correct.
And putting down every single penny by the end of the week or by the end of the month, it's like, oh man.
Very surprising for people.
Yeah.
The reactions we get are exactly that. I spend that much? Because they don't look at it on a piece of paper, or they don't think about it in terms of, this is what I've spent. Mm-hmm. Because think about it as a bill.
You really can't do a budget if you don't know what you spend, right? You're just thinking, oh, maybe for gas, maybe I spend $100 a month. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, oh no, you're not.
Yeah. Keep those receipts and add them up at the end of the month.
Yeah, and sometimes a month is too long to ask people, right? Sometimes even just a week keeping track. It's a huge eye-opener. A couple of huge items that we see is insurance. People have no idea what they're spending on. They know what they're spending on insurance, but they don't know what they're spending it for. And the phone bills, whether it's landlines or cell phones.
Or cell phones, right?
Those are two huge items that if they would just do a little bit of research, get some help, ask maybe their friends, relatives, what do they spend? Then they'll at least have some idea that there's probably other options for them.
Eating out is another really big one, right? Like it's amazing what you can do if you just even bringing one cup of coffee into work yourself that you've made at home, or bringing in a lunch, even starting out like maybe 1 or 2 days a week.
1 day a week will make a huge difference.
Okay. Yeah. So how does Ontario Debt Advisors work?
Well, what we do is we explain the government programs that either eliminate people's debt or reduce their debt, and then we let them know if they qualify for those programs. We can help them be debt-free in 5 years or less.
Okay, and you do consumer proposals as well?
Yes, yeah, and that's the government programs. Consumer proposal. We also do informal proposals, which are debt settlements. Not very many of those, but we will do those as well. Primarily, it's the government programs. Mm-hmm.
But you're not a bankruptcy trustee, though?
No, we're not.
Correct, yeah.
No, but we do work with a trustee firm because we don't administer the programs.
Okay. And how do you know at what point, you know what, I need help?
Well, really, when you reach that critical mass, it's when you realize that at the end of the month, you're having to borrow from the credit cards to buy those groceries. Or that's when you're starting to contemplate the payday loan option looks like a good idea.
Yeah, which is...
And that's literally that Peter to Paul scenario that we find. And it's really just looking at your scenario and understanding that there are options. Pick up the phone.
Okay. And the website?
OntarioDebtAdvisors.ca.
Okay, Cindy and Ryan, thanks so much. We've got more Morning Live coming up right after this.
Thanks.